All right. How many of you here are Tamil speaking people? Tamil speaking. Okay. Just not that you are great guys, okay? But it so happened that unfortunately I don't speak Hindi. But have you all seen this? How many of you? I know you all are very religious people here, so I dare not ask this question. How many of you have, the Tamil speaking people, have seen this movie, Tamil movie, or heard the song from this movie that goes O Podu? How many heard O Podu? All right, 1, 2, 4 people, 5 people heard O Podu. Right. Now, I must tell you about this O Podu. This O Podu song is O Podu. The O is what? No. Like O, that's O, okay? And Podu means do. So do O. There's a song that came out called O Podu. Do O. It was the most nonsensical song you can think of, Real rubbish song, no. And actually it so happened that I knew the composer of the song. It's one of the Indian, South Indian film called Bharadwaj. Bharadwaj had a unique chance to, those of you who were there at the UNESCO, so-called UNESCO conference in Prashanti, the man who conducted the if you remember the instrumental world orchestra, that was Bharadwaj. And he was not a Baba devotee. Then suddenly he after associating with us, he sort of, and when I met him, because I needed his help, I didn't know him at all, and then he somehow, after that his career sort of shot up like a rocket. Again, this guy now is among the top South Indian movie composers. And he came to Malaysia once and showed me, he played this tape, he invited me to his house and where he was staying, And he said, he played me the song. I tell you, it was a rubbish song you can't imagine, okay? And I said, what kind of song is this? I asked him. I'm asking the composer, What kind of song is this? I said, okay. And this guy said, he said, brother, this song is the #1 hit song in India, in South India, #1. And he was given a special award, by the Indian film industry for the song he composed. It was a nonsensical song. Though you remember the song, really, I can't remember the words, no music at all, no. But everybody, from youngsters to old ladies, South Indian people, started everything, they O Podu, like this, So this guy came to Malaysia. Why I'm telling this story, he came to Malaysia, and he had a big show, big song festival, and he, with all the Indian singers, what have you, and I got invited, okay? So I went. And then he said, now the next song, O Podu, and I tell you, the audience went wild. And then when this girl started singing the song, there were 2 youngsters sitting beside me, maybe 8-year-old, 7-year-old, They started singing along, O Podu, like this, I said, gee, look at the power of song. Look at the power of the song to excite these youngsters. And that is why our great ancestors always use songs to invoke bhakti, the most powerful force. So I decided then, if O Podu, actually O is that's only meaning. Hey, come on, Michael, say O. O Podu, say O. So everything, they'll say, how is the thing? O Podu, let's say O, like this. It was madness, it became. So I told these people, next session I said, stop, no more O Podu, no more O. From now on, let us use what we've been doing for thousands of years, Om. Let us say Om, not O, I said. So from this came, let us all from now on say Om, I said, and came this song called Om song, I call it. This Om song was inspired by this O Podu song. What do you imagine? So this song is simply about Om. So I said, let us use this song. The O will not, O, no, Om. I will say another thing, those who are not Tamil speaking. The word Om is very interesting. The meaning of the word Om is other than pranava, Om. In Tamil language, Om also means yes. So normally those traditional Tamil people, you ask, are you doing something? Om. Om. Everything they say Om, it's yes. Om is yes, okay. So that's why they say, if you say Om, God echoes Om. If you say yes, God echoes yes. Anyone recognize this kind of wording? If you say yes, He echoes yes. So the Om is actually one day I'll have a session on Om by itself. The Om is an incredible science. There's one entire Upanishad called the Mandukya Upanishad that talks only about Om. Can you imagine how much can you write about Om? You think, what can you write about Om? But my God, the entire Upanishad about the science of Om, it is devastating. But that will be much later, okay? Not now, maybe 2 or 3 years time. So not later means not after this. Time being, you settle for the song. Yeah, Om song. The song goes like this. Om, 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 Vinayaka. You say like that, God will say illa. The opposite of Om is illa. What kind of pathetic Om? Can you imagine you're saying, basically you're saying, yes, 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 God. You're saying, yes, yes, yes. What? Pathetic. Come on. Let's sit up still, let's have some power into that, okay? This is a simple song, only Om in the name of God, that's all. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om. Om, 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 Vinayaka. 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 Bol. Om, Om. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, 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 Amma, Amma. Om, Om, Amma, Amma. Om, 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 Krishna, Krishna. Om, Om, Krishna, Krishna. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Bol. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, 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 Sadashiva. Om, 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 Narayana. Om, 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 Vel Muruga. Om, 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 Magadeva. Om, 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 Magadeva. Om, 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 Magadeva. Om, Om, bolo. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Bol. Om. Om, Om, Vinayaka. Om, 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 Amma, Amma. Om, 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 Krishna, Krishna. Bolo. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, 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 Vinayaka. Om, Om. Om, Om, Vinayaka. Om, 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 Sadashiva. Om, 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 Narayana. Om, 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 Vel Muruga. All together now, right through. Deva, Om 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 Vinayaka, Om 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 Vinayaka, Om 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 Amma Amma, Om 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 Krishna Krishna, Om 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 Vinayaka, Om 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 Vinayaka, Om 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 Sadashiva, Om 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 Vel Muruga, Om 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 Magadeva, Om 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 Magadeva, Om 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 Om. Om Bode. Remember that? Okay. Not O, okay. Say Om, Om. A very simple song. Just invoking the power of the omnipresent Om and the Om, formless, manifesting through form, Vinayaka, Ganapati, whatever. Okay? So it's a little energizer. Okay, now we shall go to something else. Tulsidas, we finished. Do you want to, okay, whatever changes made there, all right. Okay, now we have this thing called the glimpses of the Veda. Now, this is a rather intricate subject. Now we're going deeper, so the less jokes, okay. I mean, all the humor is not in the Vedas, okay. This one added on. So, but. And I think you'll find that I will not. It's impossible to finish. I may not be able to finish this. We'll continue then tomorrow. Okay, this is a never-ending story kind of stuff. The glimpse of the Vedas. Again, another glimpse. Remember, I told you I'm giving only snapshots. Okay, this is the message of the Upanishads. What is another name for Upanishads? Oh, now you all know. Okay, oh, that's Vedanta Upanishad different. Now you know that Vedanta is the Upanishad, okay? Veda Antam, okay? That means the end of the Vedas. And the entire knowledge, the knowledge of the Vedas are there in the Upanishads, not in the Vedic side, not in the Aranyakas or the mantra side, okay? It is all chanting. Huh? I tell you, I got fooled with that one. The Vedas speak often of the unity of mankind. The Vedas always speak of the unity of mankind. I'm going to stun you with a few things here. Pity the more Hindus are not here to get stunned by what's going to be said here. Okay? Do Hindus have a role to play, or are they just to be bystanders and beneficiaries while others take on this challenge of the unity of mankind? The entire Vedas talk about unity of mankind. Okay? The question now is, what role now the Hindus are playing now, who are the inheritors of the Vedas, to promote unity of mankind? I'm very proud to say, at least this Atma group here, this Vedic group here, this group here, launched your donation of bedrolls to the poor, the medical camp you did, and the conference on unity of faith. That was actually a response, a Vedic response you did. What you did, pure Vedas. Because, remember now, every Hindu prayer, either at your home or in a temple, ends with one line. What is that? One verse. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all people everywhere be happy. This is the constant prayer, Loka samasta sukhino. The Hindus are told again and again that you pray for yourself. You go and pray for your father, your mother, yourself, your promotion, your wife, your better wife, better husband, whatever it is, And finally, after praying the whole time for yourself, you end your prayer by praying for the world. This is your divine duty. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. But, dear brothers and sisters, the Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu cannot be just a chant. Just because you say Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu doesn't mean the world is going to be happy, Today the devas are very angry with the angels are angry with the Hindus. And increasingly some of the others who are chanting the Loka samasta prayer, which you know who they are. Why the Devas get angry with Hindus? Because those days, see, I tell you now, this is the secret. Don't tell anybody. Now, traditionally, it is the role of the angels and the Devas to bless, they bless. They actually, how they blessing? Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. They'll bless me. All people, they'll bless. And who is to make it happen? The humans are supposed to go and do things to make people happy, you see. The angels bless and humans are supposed to do. Today, thousands of devotees are blessing. Both in Hindu temples and now sadly in Sai Baba centers, not here, now outside America. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, they dutifully and don't do anything after that. They think by saying that the whole world will become happy. This is nonsense. Loka samasta sukhino, I'll tell you what loka samasta sukhino bhavantu is for me. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu for me, at the end of the prayer, is after I pray all this while, whole time. Let's say this is the altar here. This is the altar here. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu is a promissory note I make to God. Loka samasta, at the end of your prayer, you sign a check, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, sign, Jaga, sign, Ananda, sign, so and so. Then what you do with the check? God, here's the check now for you. And then you make a promissory note to God and you leave the hall. You are supposed to implement that what's in the check. God, I will go out and try to do something to make the world a happier place. I will try to help the poor. Manava seva, Madhava seva, where is this coming from? Service to man, service with chant. There's nothing Manava seva, Madhava seva, service to man. It is the base of Hinduism. Today, how many people chanting, thousands chant Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu? How many of them go out and make it happen? Yet we go there and we bless the world as though it's going to happen. Then we put Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu and put it there. And then we go, come there, what do you do? Nay, we only look after ourselves, look only after ourselves and come back next week. And then what they do? Shy, so shameful. We take the same check, End of the day, we put the same check back. Temple after temple, we're putting the same check back, all the checks are bouncing. Because the check is not used. It's unused check, Heaven's sake. Dear friends, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu is a promissory note we make to God. That God, I will henceforth go out and make somebody happy. You have charged my spiritual battery in the temple. Now I will go out and use this battery to give a light, to cool some lives. That is the meaning of Loka Samasta. That's the only meaning it can have, Even you can't say, Loka Samasta. Hey, angel telling, hey, hold on, that's my job, okay? You guys talked. Here's a glimpse of the Vedic call. This is what the Vedas say. Watch this. This is my countryman. That is a foreigner. Such a view is entertained only by the small-minded people. But to the noble-minded, the whole world becomes his family. That's Vedas. That is, how much are you doing now to make that happen? What you all did for September 11th, after what this? America United. Yeah. That was something you manifested this at least. This is, because I complained that Brother Stokes is getting extra tea, his kind wife decided to. No wonder. But you see, the difference is he got hot tea, I got cold tea. Oh boy, you can never win, okay? This Jaga, give up. Okay. So this is the call. So all this been recorded now, oh my God. Hey brother, Gene, edit it, okay? This is my countryman, that is a foreigner, such abuse entertained only by small-minded people, but the noble-minded, the whole world becomes his family. This is the Vedic. This is your Hindu's birthright, Don't forsake that birthright. I tell you now. Swami Vivekananda, in a letter written from the United States, declares as follows. Listen what Swami went there and feel and see what emotion comes. You read this. He says, no religion on earth preaches the dignity of humanity in such a lofty strain as Hinduism, and no religion on earth treads upon the necks of the poor and the low in such a fashion as Hinduism. Testify this to yourself. What a shame. The call of the religion and the manifestation among Hindus. No religion on earth preaches the dignity of humanity in such a lofty strain as Hinduism, and no religion on earth treads upon the necks of the poor and the low in such a fashion as Hinduism. At least, no one seems to, people ignore the poor, even if you don't step on the necks here. Renunciation, tyaga, and service, seva, are the twin ideals of our religion. Intensify her in those channels, the rest will take care of itself. This is the voice of Swami Vivekananda, who came to this country and spoke. Remember what he said now? Renunciation, tyaga, and service are the twin ideals of our religion. Intensify tyaga, intensify service, the rest will take care of itself. What do you mean by tyaga then? You, Swami, I'm come here, the country of plenty, the country of riches. You want me to renounce? Some people prefer to renounce the religion. So what does it mean? Remember I told you, Hinduism is a very practical religion. It is not a crackpot religion. It's a very practical religion that talks about humanity as it is. Everything they write there must be understood in this perspective. Here, let's see what he means by this. Swami Vivekananda, letter written from America in 1894. You want to refer to this, refer to the Complete Works, volume 5, page 43. The world requires light. You can see now the Hindu thing is expired. The virus has gone into the Hinduism. It's a classic example now how the virus has gone to Hindu teaching, so it's not being projected properly. Now we got one more day for the expiry to renewal. All of you now has to one chance, one day, today, to renew. If not, so shall we renew now? So this is your choice. The world, what a timing that came. Oh my God. What a warning to all you. God is on my side. Thank you, God. The world requires light. It is expectant. India alone has the light. Not in the magic mummeries and charlatanism, but the teachings of the glories of the spirit of real religion, of the highest spiritual truths. That is why the Lord has preserved the race through all his vicissitudes unto the present day. Now the time has come. How did we know he was going to have this day here? Swami Vivekananda. Dear friends, when Swami Vivekananda says, now the time has come, it wasn't the time for those guys, those who said this. The time has come the moment you realize the truth. Each individual, the time will come sometime later. Some cannot get the message. Today morning I was doing some reading. Every morning I read some Sai works. Today I read this. He said 3 types of people in the world. 3 types of people whose minds are like this. The first type, he said, are like cotton, ginned cotton or pure cotton. One spark of Vedic teachings, it'll flare up, It'll flare like a fire and it'll burn and extinguish itself, finished, they're gone. One type. Second type is like dry wood. Keep on trying, blowing, slowly it'll ignite and it'll burn also. The third type is like wet wood. Keep on putting the fire, never burn again. Until the body gets burnt really, and then next birth possibly it may burn. So I'm not too sure now. Possibly I'm addressing all cotton. Or dry wood. Or wet wood, I don't know, How do I know these things? But Swami Vivekananda thundering, let's read this message. Let's read this message. It's very powerful, inspiring. 1, 2, 3, together. The world. Hey, come on, pathetic. 1, 2, 3, come on. The world. But in the teachings of the glories of the spirit of real religion, of the highest spiritual truths, that is why the Lord has preserved the race through all vicissitudes unto the present day. Now the time has come. Ha! So then, if there is a light somewhere, then let us look for that light. The Upanishads hopefully will give glimpses of that light. Here again today, dear friends, I'm going to give you just snapshots of Upanishads. I'm just giving you, I'm now going to give you now the big picture, okay? It's only later we're going to go into the technical details of what the Upanishads are. Here today I'm going to tell you what the Upanishads are, okay? Now, the principal Upanishads are taken to be those that Shankaracharya commented upon. There are about 108, 101 Upanishads, really, 100 Upanishads. But Shankaracharya, thousands were there. Many got lost. 101 survived somehow. But 10 are the ones Shankaracharya commented upon. And these are supposed to now taken as a principle because his comment is available on this. Now I'm going to give you a brief and very inadequate synopsis as follows. I'm going to give you a brief, but I must admit inadequate because later I'll go into each Upanishad in depth in subsequent sessions if you all are interested, okay? Now I just want to show you what it is. The Isa Upanishad. The Isa Upanishad embodies the central theme of all Upanishads, namely the spiritual unity and solidarity of all existence. This is the one Upanishad called, remember the names, the Isa Upanishads. Embodies the central theme of all Upanishads, namely spiritual unity and solidarity of all existence. That means Upanishad tells us now all mankind is one, universe is one. This is the concept of the spider's web. It's a very interesting concept here of the spider's web. I'm not too sure whether this is from this Upanishad, but I mean, the Upanishads, I'll just show you here. They call this, the Upanishad, the Vedas, not this Upanishad necessarily, one of the Upanishads, okay, talk about the universe being Nama, Rupa, Prapancha. Name, form, Prapancha here, very interesting, what's the meaning of this? In generally, it's translated to mean a network of names and forms. The entire universe is a network of names and forms, okay? But you watch now. Pra means comes over, big, great. Prapancha means five. What are the five? Five are the Panchabhutas, the five elements. So the entire universe is made up of these five elements, that's all. From the highest stars in heavens, to the lowest worm, made five elements. What are the five elements? Air, ether, first was ether, space, air, fire, water, earth. And earth means all the elements that are going to earth. Okay, that's it. Nothing else, the whole universe. So the entire universe, it says, is a network of names and forms. And the theory from this is, as a spider weaves from itself, the web. So the whole concept of a spider's web, is the entire universal thing here. But the Vedas say the whole universe is connected like a spider's web. What does that mean? That means, it's okay, no? Spider's web? That means that anything happening in any part of the world can affect you. Like a spider's web, any small movement here in this web here can be felt here, is it not? The spider knows, okay? Vibration. That's what it means. It means anything happening in any part of the world will one day affect you, so be careful. The whole universe is united. Now, very interesting, when the people couldn't understand this until Newtonian science, okay? When they thought when at one time man thought that the ultimate building block was the atom. They thought that the whole universe, was only by gravity and atom, that's all. See, the atom was supposed to be the ultimate building block at one time. What does it mean? It means that they thought if I cut everything small, finally only atom, that's it. From atom, join, the whole universe comes. This was the Newtonian theory. Until they discovered the atomic microscope. Suddenly they went to microscope, they found, remember now, from the original, the ultimate building block being atom, atomic microscope opened up the whole new field. They realized now, my God, atom is nothing. Within the atom, there are protons, neutrons, all swirling around, at incredible speed. And as they went further and further into the atom, they found nothing. Fields of energy. They call it from energy, from nothing, something's happening, This is what now the present astrophysics is now. Amazing, when once they go into that subatomic level, they found everything interconnected. This is what science is telling us now. At subatomic level, everything becomes interconnected. And that's what the spider's web is telling them now. There is an interconnection between the entire universe, okay? And as you know, all of you know, I mean, America, it's a very sad story, but it hit America very interestingly. That America was so isolated from the rest of the world that everyone thought that anything happens anywhere in the world won't affect America until September 11th. Suddenly now, whatever happens anywhere affects you, Spider's web. The thing began to move, okay? So this is a great, great lesson. That therefore, if you want to be happy, make sure others are happy, That's a message, If you want to be happy and peaceful, make others happy and peaceful also. That's a clear message. The rich man, the multimillionaire, sitting down with this big factory at the edge of a river flowing into the ocean. He's sitting here and polluting the river. He tells his family, always use this water here, so we won't be affected. So he pollutes here. So he's very happy. He doesn't care, I'm not affected. Until one day, the fisherman caught a fish here. The polluted fish went here to the shop. His son ate the fish and died. Spider's web. You see? You cannot escape. You pollute the air. You think you're polluting the air here, it's going to affect you. You pollute water, it affects you. Everything is back in spider's web. The interconnectedness of the universe. That's what the message of the Upanishads. The first verse of these Upanishads, remember I mentioned this to you earlier? Hello? What's the first verse? The first verse gives the clue to the life and living. The Upanishad gets a name from the very first line. Isa Vasya Idam Sarvam. Divinity pervades everything. Now this is the Isa Upanishad. Divinity pervades everything. You harm divinity, any part of divinity, you get harmed. That's the message. Whatever, let's all read this together. Why am I reading this? You all know English, 1, 2, 3. Whatever is changeful in this ephemeral world, all that must be enveloped by the Lord. By renunciation, support yourself. Do not covet the wealth of anyone. Watch now. Isa Upanishad saying this. This is a dangerous message to give our youth today, who are striving so hard to do well, trying to become a doctorate here, from all the way from Malaysia to come here to be a doctorate. He said, by renunciation, support yourself, do not then why should I work so hard to get money? Is my religion telling me I shouldn't work hard to earn wealth? It's a question now that could come in the minds. No. Answer. Does it mean that we should not desire wealth? Does Hinduism say we should not desire wealth? Hinduism answer is this. Let me give the answer of Hinduism. The Taittiriya Upanishad, another Upanishad, in 2.8, okay, just those who want to check, says this. Watch. Read loudly. Let us take a youth, a good-mannered youth, well-educated, full of hope, firm in mind and strong in body. Let him have domain over the full wealth of this earth. That is the unit of human bliss. Can you imagine, 5000 BC, they're telling how ideal youth should be now. Good-mannered, well-educated, full of hope, track, aspiration, firm in mind, strong in body. Let him have dominion over the full wealth of this earth. This only one, but the thing is, it's only one unit of human bliss. Human bliss is much more, but this one unit you get at least human bliss. So Hinduism doesn't say don't earn wealth. Now watch now. See this now, another one. The Hinduism something called 4 Purusharthas. The Purusharthas means what now? The goal of human life. The Purusharthas mean the goal of life. See, Hinduism one thing is very fascinating. You can read Vedas and Vedas and Vedas and Vedas and Vedas, books to fill the library, But without that, just 4 words enough already. 4 words are enough to tell you how you should live your life. The goal of life, called Purusharthas. What are they? Number 1, Dharma, righteousness. Follow Dharma. Number 2, Artha, wealth. Number 3, Kama, desire. Number 4, Moksha, liberation. This Hinduism tells you this is the goals of life. Firstly, follow Dharma. I already told you about Dharma, okay? Hinduism doesn't say don't have wealth. Earn wealth. Can you imagine among the 4 goals in life, wealth is there. Earn wealth. But how? Earn wealth following dharma. First dharma, then earn wealth. And then desire. Let not anyone tell you Hinduism said you should not have desire. Nonsense. Only the rock and the wood and the stone, there is no desire. The moment you're born, desire is there. The moment aham is there, desire is there. But question is now, desire is there, only rocks and stones and have no desire. Human being, more human, for animal, from the, I tell you, what the Vedas say, it's not here in my thing. The Vedas say something fantastic. It says, from the lowest creature, the worm and the amoeba, to the highest human being, 2 things they do. All of them move away from things that cause pain and sorrow and move towards things that give peace and happiness. What a beautiful state life. You agree with that? Exactly. What a simple statement. From the lowest worm to the highest creation, you move away from things that give pain and sorrow and move towards things that give peace, happiness and wealth. Except that the methodology of getting there, that's where the confusion starts. Whether temporary wealth, or temporary happiness or permanent happiness. So karma, desire is there. But what kind of desire? Have desire that is dharmic in nature. What is dharmic desire? Very simple. For you to desire a wife is dharmic. To desire a neighbor's wife is adharmic. So there's a very simple code, okay? Hinduism says, desire a wife. Doesn't say wife general, your wife. So dharma is very simple. So that dharmic code is actually very, very clear. It's not very confusing. We can confuse it by all kinds of words. But dharma is very clear. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. Golden rule. That is dharma. So have desire that's righteous, and have desire that will move into moksha, liberation. Now this moksha liberation issue is a very big issue. I won't go into it now. Later we'll talk about moksha liberation. Okay? Because you know why? If I talk about moksha liberation here, and all of you get moksha, then tomorrow there'll be less people in the hall. Today, I cannot afford to do that. So I need some audience at least tomorrow. It is excessive and unrighteous desire for anything that is condemned. Hinduism desire does not condemn desire. Neither did Christ. Remember, Christ, every religion never condemned desire, wealth. Christ, remember the story of the what do you call this? The talents. Oh, sorry. Okay. At least those Christian people understand the story of talents. Okay, where Christ praised the servant who in fact multiplied his wealth. In the Islam, the Holy Prophet himself was a merchant. Okay, he wasn't a failure as a merchant; he was a successful merchant. Okay, so it's excessive and unrighteous desire that for anything that is condemned. Here's a comment from Shankaracharya. You know Shankara? The person whom you all twice condemned as unrighteousness. You remember, you all condemned Shankaracharya twice as unrighteous, okay? I tell you, he's going to come in your dreams tonight. Oh fool, give up this excessive desire for wealth. Yoke your mind to the good and the true and cultivate detachment. Whatever wealth you obtain by your honest labor, with that learn to delight your mind and heart. Very simple. How true. This Shankaracharya is telling us. If you can imagine, some fellows what they'll do, who don't want to tell you the whole truth, will stop here. Will stop here. Now if you stop here now, and then people run away from the religion, okay? Oh fool, give excess desire for wealth and yoke your mind to go into cultivate detachment. Youngsters lean to the I can't America, I want to be an IT engineer, whatever. But the true, look at it, he's not the guy knew what he's talking about reality. Whatever wealth you obtain by honest labor, with that learn to delight your mind and heart. He doesn't say suffer or because he said delight, make yourself happy with whatever wealth. You want to buy a Mercedes car, buy. But with your own honest living, you see, and honest wealth. That's a very clear message. How to face death? Oh. The answer in the Vedas. Oh, by the way, I must tell you this. I'm supposed to talk about the Vedas here today. But there's one presentation I've got actually. Very, very fascinating. It says, the presentation is about life and death. What happens to you after you die? Is there heaven or hell? What does Hinduism, what does the Vedas say about heaven or hell? Where are you going to go? What does Christianity say about heaven or hell? What does Islam say about heaven or hell? What does Buddhism say about heaven or hell? And what does one of the great spiritual gurus of this age say heaven or hell? Actually, when Bhagavan Baba says heaven or hell. Okay. Would you be interested in this? How many are interested in that subject? Yeah, sure. Why are you interested in heaven or hell? All right, you never know, you may get there. We do that tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have a session on heaven or hell, okay? That means, what does the scripture say about, does heaven really exist? Does hell really exist? What happens when we die? How do we get there? And I'll tell you about the transit lounge also. There's a transit lounge between heaven and hell. This Michael. That's all tomorrow, okay? But this Nosh has warned me 5 times, Jaga, we advertise the whole thing as Vedas, so we talk about Vedas. So I said, whatever I talk, I'll ask them permission if they're interested. This is about Vedas. What Vedas say about heaven and hell, I'll tell you about that. Also what does Christianity, Buddhism, Islam says. And then some of it you see, you can't sleep tomorrow night out of that. No? Very, very scary stuff. But may as well know it if you're going to go there. No? How to face death? The answer in the Vedas. Among the last verses of the Isa Upanishad is one where a devotee is facing death. He is fully aware of the process of death and thus says the following. Now tomorrow I'm going to show you what is the process, but now this guy knows the process. He's saying, watch. The vital force in me about to merge in the immortal prana, the cosmic energy. Then this mortal body shall be reduced to ashes. Om, O mind, remember your good deeds. Remember, O mind. Remember your good deeds. Remember. Watch now, this, very interesting. He's not going to die now. He said, the vital force in me about to merge in the immortal prana. Remember this part, because tomorrow you're going to, this will be revived, okay? Someone take this down, please, because I have it in my another, this thing. Just take this down. And remind me this verse, this incredible verse here. This is in the Isa Upanishad. The vital force in me about to merge in the immortal prana, the cosmic energy. Then this mortal body shall be reduced to ashes. Just write this section down. Then, O mind, remember your good deeds. Remember, O mind, remember your good deeds. Remember. So what he's saying now? The moment you die, try and remember the good deeds you have done. But yet there's a catch here. To remember the good deeds you have done, you must have done some good deeds. That's the sad part of it. If the whole life you're only looking after yourself, the good deed I did, yes, I bought food for myself. I bought a car for myself. I bought a house for myself. I bought a second house for my daughter, and a third house for my son. I bought a third car for my son. All these are the good deeds I remember. Guess where you'll end up? So, very interesting, That is why the Vedas say, do good. Karma yoga, do something so that you can, at least when the moment comes, you can say, God, I did something good at least, You may have to think about it, but others who are doing constantly good deeds. Another thing now. Don't say, I did a good deed. I was a surgeon. I saved so many lives. A surgeon, I saved so many lives. These are good deeds. You know what God will tell you? Hey, don't joke. You are a coolie. What coolie? What coolie, God? I'm a surgeon. Hey, you're a coolie. Somebody paid you money and you did. Would you do it free? You are like no worse than the man who carried rocks and put on the road to make your car go smoothly. You're a coolie. You did something, work for payment. The fact you did it well is your own personal pride. You built a big building. As a coolie, somebody paid you money. You did. As a servant. Did you do without being paid as a servant? Then That's why we tell you, go to medical camps. So that you do service free of charge, to the poor. Then you tell, hey, God, hold on. Hey, remember the one day, 55 years ago, I did one service, Remember, God, one day, I think somewhere Baba's birthday, I did one free operation. At least that you can say, In the Bhagavad Gita, by the way, all this is connection to what? No. What are you talking about connection to? All of you connecting to what? The good deed business. What do you think when you die? Okay. When you die, what do you mean? Entertaining whatever thought a man leaves his body at the time of death, having constantly dwelt on that thought, he achieves verily that, Arjuna. Watch this now. So firstly, this guy says now, he says, oh mind, let me always remember the good deeds, the good things I've done. In the Isa Pranayana. Krishna in the Gita says, entertaining whatever thought a man leaves his body at the time of death, having constantly dwelt on the thought, he achieves verily that. Can you imagine if you die and the thought you have is something bad you've done to someone? I hate that fellow, you finish. Next birth you go. Hell, straight away. Next birth, can you imagine suffering in that? But if you do good, there's one nice story, that Baba once told us, okay. He said this one fellow, he didn't, he was a businessman, I won't tell what kind of businessman, Indian businessman, okay. Not necessarily here, but this guy was so busy earning money. There is no time for prayers, okay, no time. So what he did, he said, then he heard, that if the last thing you do in your life, you think of God's name, sure, moksha. He thought, how can I get moksha easy way? Praying is such a hassle, okay. I prefer to earn money, So he said, very good idea he got. He had a lot of children. He named his children after God. Rama, Krishna, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati, Muruga, Subramanyam, he named 15 children, all named. So he knew that when he's going to die, all the children will be around him, you see. So he'll think, oh Krishna, oh Rama, oh Sita, oh Lakshmi, you are here. That's why the Hindus name their children after God's name, Oh Saraswati, oh Meera, whatever, some goddess name, okay now. So the fellow was lying, finally the fellow, all it done, he said, business, so many shops he had, and finally the day came, he's lying on his bed now, he's saying, oh Rama, oh Krishna, you are here, oh Lakshman, oh Muruga, oh Kartikeya. That's why the gods have so many names, you can give so many names, Murugan, one name is like Muruga, Kartikeya, Subramanya, can you imagine? Then suddenly he looked around, all the children there. He thought, oh, who's looking out of the shop? He died. Who's looking out of the shop? He died. So what happened? Entertaining whatever thought a man leaves the body at times is having constantly dwelt that thought he achieves verily, Exactly what I mean. Whatever you have done all your life, you're thinking that's dominating your life. That will be the thought you have in your last birth, last moment, No, believe me. If all your life you think of football, and last minute, what's the Chelsea score? Manchester United. Sorry, here you don't know about Manchester United. What is this? Your American football, okay, whatever it is. So dear devotees, that's why they say always Namasmaran. Chant God's name. Think God's name. Do good things. Therefore, at all times think of me continuously and also fight. If your mind and hearts are fixed in me, you'll undoubtedly attain me only. So how then to always think of God so that we get into this easy way? So we know now naming the children no use. Okay? So we'll tackle that question tomorrow, how to do that, okay? What time are we finishing today? Okay, now then we finish Upanishad. The Kena Upanishad, third one, Kena Upanishad, illumines the nature of the knowledge by pointing out the eternal knower. That means illumine who is the knower, okay, behind all acts of knowing. Who is the knower behind all acts of knowing? Who is the person, you say your eyes see. Are your eyes seeing? No, your eyes are just inert objects, Somebody is seeing. Who is it that's seeing? Who is it who knows? And purifies man's conscience ultimately by revealing its character as the eternal self of man and the self of the universe. This is the self we talked about earlier, I. My pen, my eyes, my. Who is the owner of this? Who is actually seeing? Who is hearing? Your ears are not hearing. Your ears sense. Sometimes in the mind something, who is that? Who is behind that? Behind that? Behind that? That's the Kena Upanishad asks that question. The Katha Upanishad is a blend of poetry, deep mysticism and profound philosophy. It contains a more unified exposition of Vedanta than any other single Upanishad. This Upanishad contains the famous dialogue between Lord Yama and young Nachiketa. This is a fantastic dialogue. Huh? All of you heard of this, Yama and Nachiketa? Hello? How many of you heard of Yama and Nachiketa? All right. I'm going to show you, not this session, next time, the exact dialogue that took place. As though I was there. Can you imagine you were there, you're in trouble, okay? Anyhow, it's a incredible dialogue, okay? Between young, the dialogue was so many millenniums ago, but it is as fresh as though today you're asking these questions, okay? That's a kind of incredible thing. This will be the Katha Upanishad, okay? Very, very powerful stuff. This one, I was actually very excited when I started going through this part of it. It was so exciting. Then the Prashna Upanishad is an Upanishad of questions. Prashna means, okay, 6 students placed questions to the teacher, Sage Vyasa, and he answered these questions, okay? And these questions are all very, very practical questions. I'll show you some, maybe the question may be here, in fact. Oh, sorry, not here, okay, I'll have to show it to you when I go to this is only a glimpse I'm giving, yeah? This is the Prashna Upanishad. Then we have what is called the Mundaka Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. Very, very interesting now. The Mundaka Upanishad. The word Mundaka is very interesting. Mundaka means what? No, shaven head. So Upanishad of the shaven head. What kind of Upanishad is that? It's meant for those who are renunciate, those who are monks, this very high order of philosophy. So they call it Mundaka, the Upanishad for the people who have renunciate, showed by shaven heads. Not just bald people, okay? The difference between bald and shaven heads, okay? You understand that? No. The Mundaka Upanishad classifies all knowledge into para and apara. Very interesting, eh? Para is high. In Sanskrit, you put an A in front, it becomes opposite, okay? So para is higher, apara is lower. A para, not higher. All science, watch this now, all science, art, literature, politics, economy, all positive knowledge of the changeable many are classified as apara, lower knowledge. And boldly, this particular Upanishad declares, include the holy Vedas as such. The Vedas itself, it says, is apara. Which part you know? The first part. Remember when I told you about the chanting, all the ritual, that is all apara, it says. The one knowledge that is declared as para is that by which the imperishable, changeless reality, the one behind the many, realize. This is the Upanishad part of it. The Upanishad science sings in ecstasy of glorious vision of the one in the many. It says now only the Vedanta is para. Even the Vedas, the first part of the Vedas is apara. The ones about rituals and mantras, only apara. So only the knowledge of the science of how to realize God, that is the knowledge, that is the higher knowledge, para. This is very, very daring. Remember, that's why it says this is Mandukya Upanishad. That means only for the renunciates. Very, very interesting. But even then, we get a lot of beautiful stuff that we can use in our lives. Then comes the Mandukya Upanishad. This is the one. In 12 verses, only 12 verses, it gives a profound explanation of the pranava, Om. The whole Upanishad only about Om. It states 3 stages of waking, dream, and dreamless deep sleep. Waking stage, dream state, dreamless deep sleep, and reveals the Atma, the true self of man, as Turiya, or the 4th state, as pure consciousness, eternal, non-dual. I'll explain all this later when we talk about the subject. It's a beautiful subject. This is science of creation. Those of you who want to read this in a hurry, without waiting for next year for me to talk about this, the book I've written called the Evolution. The book called Evolution, I've gone into great depth into the science of Om and how this relates to the principle of creation of the universe. It contains, this Mandukya Upanishad contains the Mahavakya of the grand utterance of Upanishads. I am Atma, Brahman. This Atman, the self of man is Brahman. This is the Mandukya Upanishads. I am Atma, Brahman. The Sathya Upanishad is another very famous Upanishad. Have you heard of this Sathya Upanishad? You may have heard. Some of you may have heard of Sathya. Have you heard of the Sathya birds? They call it the birds. You heard the story of the 2 birds. That's about the Sathya Upanishad. Declares, the knower of Brahman attains the supreme. Prajnanam Brahmam. The knower of Brahman attains the supreme. Prajnanam Brahma, this one. It describes the 5 koshas, or the 5 sheaths that enclose and hide Brahman. The scriptures say our central core, Atma, is here. But why is it we can't? Why? How come I can't realize the Atma? How come I can't realize I am God? How come I think? Why? Because you have 5 sheets covering you. 5 sheets are like scabbard nose. 5 covers are covering you, covering this. What are they? The 5 pits, and you must go through this 5 before you. Okay, so I'll talk about it later. The enclose and hide Brahman and demonstrate the technique of piercing these sheets of relativity and finitude with the view of reaching the infinite and the eternal at the core of experience. It also provides a scientific definition of Brahman. S. What's Brahman? It's very interesting. Look at the word, how they describe Brahman. That from which all these beings are born, by which after being born they live, and into which they merge when they cease to be. That is Brahman. They're trying to describe the Brahman. Watch now. Who can see now here, from this came the entire concept of the Trimurti. Watch now. Brahman, the formless Brahman. That from which these beings are born, by which these after being born they live, into which they merge when they cease to be. Who does it define here? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. You see, very interesting. So then you see this, you see. If you don't look at it, then you won't see this, okay? From which they are born, Brahma, by which after being born they live, Vishnu, that is Brahman. So it's one, one. No question about it, one. This is the Upanishad. Then comes the next one, the Taittiriya Upanishad. In Taittiriya Upanishad, okay, 3:1. Look at what it says here. Discuss Brahman again. That from which all these entities and beings are born, that in which being born they live, that unto which in the end they enter. Know that is Brahman. Okay, see, they cast it in different wordings. This is another way they present it. That from which all the entities, beings are born, that in which they live, that is the Brahman. So Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, described here. The next Upanishad, number 8, is Aitreya Upanishad. The Aitreya Upanishad established the spiritual character of Absolute through a discussion of the nature of the self of man. Let's see what it goes on again. Okay. The Aitreya Upanishad established the spiritual character of the Absolute through a discussion of the nature of the self of man. Here again, okay, many of the Upanishads, devotees, are discussions between the Guru and the disciples, question answer. Some, of course, is declarations, some it. So this is another one like this. And proclaim this truth in another of the 4 Mahavakya. So they have then discussed it of what the nature of man, and then declare one of the 4 Mahavakyas in the Aitreya Upanishad, and that is Prajnanam Brahmam. That is the Brahman is supreme knowledge, pure consciousness. What is Brahman? Supreme knowledge, pure consciousness, that is Brahman. So see, again and again, understand, Hinduism takes us back to formlessness, consciousness, okay? Then comes number 9, the Chandogya Upanishad. Introduces us to truth seekers like Sathya Karma, Svetaketu, Narada here, very many, and outstanding spiritual teachers like Aruni. These are all very famous, Prajapati. Now, through several illuminating teacher-student dialogues, the Upanishad helps us to discriminate the reality of being, from the appearance of becoming in a brief utterance of deep spiritual and philosophical import, is another of the 4 Mahavakyas in the Chandogya Upanishad. You see now, again here, it's a teacher-student dialogue. It shows how to discriminate the reality of being, okay? How do you see through the illusion? That's all, it keeps on talking about that, okay? And you'll see now it's very relevant for all of us also to understand how we can live life, without getting caught, and, so that without being caught. So when you fall, we go back to the ancient Vedic thing, okay? The matrix fall. What are the 4 Mahavakyas? Tattvam Asi. So Aitreya Upanishad talks about Tattvam Asi, that thou art. It prescribes knowledge of this innate divinity of man as the one remedy for deeper ills of life. Forget about the Sanskrit. The knower of the Atman crosses all sorrow. In this profoundly human episode of the discipleship of Indra and the Prajapati, it instructs us in the true nature and technique of man's spiritual quest and the blessings that flow from spirituality. It is an impressive account of man's spiritual education, his growth from worldliness, of materialism, and the evils that flow from it, to spirituality as a philosophy of life. So this is, what this particular Aitreya Upanishad says, and that's It doesn't mean you got to stand like this all day, But just an example. By the way, I must tell you this, all these beautiful things you see, pictures all you see here, it is not anyway, this is all work done by my manager in my office, Lalita, and I just give the words and she puts all these pictures and all this beautiful stuff you see. It's all the hours and hours of work they spend going through this stuff, and making it such a beautiful presentation. So I owe great thanks to her. Finally now, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I hope this pronunciation a bit okay. I'm not a Sanskrit scholar. Okay, here. Brihadaranyaka. Now I'll tell you, Brihadaranyaka. Two things. Upanishad, the longest of the Upanishad. His name implies big, Brihad, big, Brihad. Anyone Sanskrit scholar here? Brihad, is it? Forest Aranya. So, big forest. It means a big forest, okay, the big forest Upanishad. So, this Upanishad, it's a philosophical thought it's a big forest of philosophical thought and spiritual inspiration. 4 outstanding personalities illumine this Upanishad. 2 men and 2 women. Janaka, heard of Janaka? King Janaka? Very famous, many, he's often quoted. The philosopher king, Yagnavalkya, the philosopher stage, Maitri, the spiritual wife of his wife, beautiful dialogue between both of them, and Yagnavalkya was going to go away, renounce everything and go. Then he says, wife, you stay behind, have all what I've got, wealth. Then the wife said, why are you giving me this? You want to get something better and you're giving me this? Then the dialogue goes on between him and his wife, as to the meaning of spirit. Beautiful, beautiful challenge here about higher self. And of course, then this lady called Gargi, the Vak Navi. Vak means word, speech. The gifted woman speaker and philosopher, who is the foremost among the questioners of Yagnavalkyas in philosophical debate. So these, we will look at some of these things in more detail in subsequent sessions in order to see what are they saying, why they are saying this, what have you. This Upanishad expounds through the dialogue of these and other personalities, the divinity of man and the spiritual solidarity of the whole universe in Brahman. It contains another of the 4 Mahakyas, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. It dares to characterize Brahman as fearless and presents its realization by man as attainment here and now of the state of absolute fearlessness and the fullness of delight. What it says here now, I am Brahman, that means the basic message is fearlessness. If you are God, why should you fear? Do you know in the Bhagavad Gita, again, don't forget, you'll see later when you talk about the details, you find that much of this actually is now in the Bhagavad Gita. So what Krishna did was to summarize the entire great teaching and put into a package in the Bhagavad Gita. So much of this you see echoed in the Bhagavad Gita. This part, for example, it dares carry Brahman as fearless and present realization by man as attainment here and now of the state of absolute fearlessness and fulfillment of delight. If you realize your divinity, then totally. And in the Bhagavad Gita, there's one section called the divine nature of man. One second. What is the divine nature? And the first quality of divine nature is what? No? Fearlessness. First quality, fearlessness. Why should you fear? Then from that word comes, why fear when I'm here? God says, why should you fear? Very powerful message. So one final bonus I give you before I end up. Srimad Bhagavatam says, read loudly this one, 1, 2, 3. Only 2 kinds of people are happy and free from tension. The utter fool and the one who has surpassed himself, gone beyond his mind, attained the state of Paramahamsa. All people in between are in varying stages of tension and sorrow. So this, take comfort. If you are in a state of tension and sorrow, then you are more or less normal. If you're not in a state of tension and sorrow, you're either a fool. This Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm not Jagadeesan. You're either a fool, utter fool, not simple fool, utter fool. And one who has surpassed himself and gone beyond his mind. All people in between are in varying stages of tension. So take comfort from that. There's one Tamil song, the Tamil song, I just say in Tamil for the entire English. They say, the one who came on in a movie. It goes like this. Unakkum keele ullavar kodi ninaithu paarthu nimmadi naadu mayakamma kalakamma Manadile kulapama. You say, what is the meaning of it? No. Unakkum keele ullo. Take comfort in the fact, oh man, that below you there are other people suffering more than you. At least for that sake, take comfort. If you think you got no shoes, the guy, you know, heard a story. The guy who was complaining had no shoes until he saw the guy without legs. Then he said, thank God I got legs, at least I don't need shoes. You know. So, take comfort that there are those below you. If you cannot take comfort in the higher ideals of life, in the higher vision of life, you know, at least take comfort that you're not in Somalia, that you're not in Congo, that you're not now being bombed out of shape, you know, in Baghdad. So that's thank God for that, okay? It's not my intention to go through the Upanishads now here, but in the 1 to 3 of Hinduism, I will attempt to show all this video later. This will be some of the topics we will cover tomorrow. Dear devotees, God bless all of you. That's the end of my session today. So before we finish now, I don't want to compete with the music at the background, but let us now, there's the very nice music at the back. I don't know, but I think we should finish with this particular thing. Let us all. I know it's a bit heavy going this one, huh? I promise, I didn't tell you it's going to be light, okay? I never promised you rose gardens, you know, this is, okay. All right, so this is this thing is a tough one, but I've tried to make it interesting as possible so that you don't get to the thing, and I hope this has been useful to you, okay? All right, good. Remember now? Om border, okay? Om. Hey, close the doors, okay, so we don't disturb the singer that side. Okay? Is that a live singer or recording? Live, huh? Wow. Okay, we just quickly sing. You sing well, very nice. Okay, let's sing softly, huh? Om.